been trying to register for verified fan tickets on Ticketmaster.com all morning since Miss Taylor Allison Swift decided to announce to the whole world that she's going on tour. And it's not working. It's not working. I'm freaking out, okay? Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are doing exceptionally well today. I am so excited to be sitting down in front of the camera with you guys because if you did not know, it's November already, which means that I have had a lot of stories that I've eaten last month. I did a video like this a month ago, which is so crazy to me because where has the time gone? Time after time. I don't know where it's been going. What? Word. So as always, I'm going to be talking about movies, TV shows, and books that I have consumed within the last month. And disclaimer, the original video is from Poland Banana Books here on YouTube, so I will link her channel down below so that you can go check out those videos because they're pretty cool as well. So let's start with the movies. The first movie that I watched in October is Rain Man, directed by Barry Levinson and starring Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise. Rain Man follows stubborn and narcissistic car dealer Charlie Babbitt, who returns home to Cincinnati after learning his father has died. Anxious to receive his assumed $3 million inheritance, Charlie is taken by surprise when he learns the fortune is being left to his estranged and autistic older brother, Raymond. I actually enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to. I didn't really understand the plot that much when I had put it on my list as movies to watch. There's a hair in my eye. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. What the heck? Crisis availed. But as I was saying, I really did love this movie. I think Dustin Hoffman does an amazing job at playing his character. There are a lot of movies where autism is necessarily not portrayed correctly, or it can even become a little bit offensive. And though, you know, there's like tidbits in this movie that I'm like, well, I think Dustin Hoffman did a really good job at portraying his character. I could really tell that he had a lot of research that went into playing his character, and it's overall just a very heartwarming movie. I do give it 4 stars only because I did find it to be a little slow in parts of the movie, but nothing drastic. And so 4 stars, go watch it. It was amazing. Let's move on to the next movie. The next movie I watched is Sylvia Scarlett, directed by George Cukor and starring the beautiful, wonderful Katharine Hepburn and the beautiful, wonderful Cary Grant. After the death of her mother, Sylvia Scarlett cuts off her hair and transforms into a young man in order to move more freely from England to France with her father in hopes of helping him with his debts. The main thing that comes to my mind when I think of this movie is just chaos. It's very all over the place. They talk so fast, which I absolutely love, but a lot of the time because it's with that transatlantic accent and because, you know, Katharine Hepburn is known to over-exaggerate that accent, and a lot of the characters do within this movie. I had to watch it with subtitles because I felt like I was listening to something completely different that was not English, and that's, you know, not typical for me because I watch Gilmore Girls and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on repeat throughout the entire year, so I should be fine with listening to people talk fast, but they were just like all over the place. That's not really the point. It was a very good and lighthearted movie. It's just very hard to keep your attention if you're not completely zoned into it. I also think that Katharine Hepburn dressed as a young man is so natural. I don't know, like there's just something about her like tomboydness spirit and just the way that she presents herself on the screen that is so very more masculine than anything, and I thought that it just came very naturally to her. I thought it was so natural and so interesting to see her in that role because she did really well. This movie I give 3 stars. The next movie that I watched is Not Okay, directed by Quinn Shepard and starring Zoe Deutch. Desperate to be seen, Danny Sanders, a writer and master Photoshop editor, fakes a trip to Paris to increase her social media status. When a terrible accident occurs in Paris and becomes global news, what started as a social experiment becomes a disastrous lie and a key to unlocking fame. This movie was so fun to watch. I love movies that have vibrancy and color, and just like you can tell they put a lot of time into set design and props. I think that Zoe really does a good job of taking on the big older sister kind of roles, and this one was definitely that. I love her nails and her makeup. I think it's so Gen Z and so just really cool, and I want to be her, you know, like apart from being a big fat liar and friendless and jobless and just a really bad person, I want to be everything else. I also really love the way that this movie ended. I think it is a completely different ending to most teen comedy movies. Not that this is like a teen comedy, but it's very similar, and it very much copies the outline of what a teen comedy would look like. And so I really love the ending. I think that it was perfect for this kind of movie and for telling, you know, the story. I think it was awesome, and so I give this movie 4 stars. The next movie that I watched is Rosalind, directed by Karen Maine and starring Caitlin Dever. This twist on Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet follows Rosalind, Romeo's first love before falling for Juliet. This movie is so creative. The plot of this movie, when I first heard it, I thought, now that's creation. Now that's writing. Like, that's great. But it was so witty. It's so well written. I just think that the plot of, like, because, you know, we hear Romeo and Juliet all the time, and I have my qualms with Romeo and Juliet. I don't understand why it's such a popular thing, because it's literally 2 teenagers running around like, I love you forever, I'm going to die for you, and they end up dying for each other, and, like, literally they were, like, 13. Like, bestie, go do your homework. But I just thought it was a really cool take. I found myself laughing out loud, which when I do that, you know it's funny, because most of the time I'm just like, LOL. It has very much Ella Enchanted undertones, and again, it's just very creative, and I give it 3.5 stars. The next movie that I watched in October is Elvis, directed by Baz Luhrmann and starring Tom Hanks and Austin freaking Butler, who is gorgeous. By the way, if nobody else has ever mentioned that before. He's gorgeous. Elvis is a biopic about Elvis and his rise to stardom and inevitable fall from fame. The story is told from the perspective of Colonel Tom Parker, played by Tom Hanks, who was known as a financially and emotionally abusive presence in Elvis's life. I think this movie was made so well. I do, however, feel like it didn't delve very much into how, you know, Elvis did fall from fame. I think it showed a lot of his success, and then very quickly at the end it showed his downfall. And I think I would have liked to see a little bit more of, you know, the things that weren't so pleasant to look at. There are a lot of things with Elvis that are very problematic, but then, you know, he's such a great star and he's such a wonderful singer and he has some amazing songs. And I think I would have liked to see a little bit more delve into his past. And the same thing with Blonde. I feel like when I watched Elvis, all I could think of was the fact that Marilyn Monroe and Elvis were kind of the same person, but the opposite sex, and so they were looked at very differently. And I feel like both movies could have done a lot more with that, but I feel like with Elvis, what they did really well was delving into his past and showing, you know, how he came up with the songs and what made him really be a performer in the way that he performed, if that makes any sense. So overall, I would definitely give this movie 3 stars just because of that. I think if they wouldn't have rushed it so quickly at the end, it definitely would have been 4 stars, but because of that, it's 3. The next movie I watched was A Streetcar Named Desire, directed by Elia Kazan and starring Vivien Leigh and Marlon Brando, also known as The Godfather. Based on the play by Tennessee Williams, A Streetcar Named Desire follows Blanche Dubois, an emotionally troubled teacher who leaves her hometown to move in with her sister Stella and her sister's husband Stanley. Blanche's flighty and flirtatious spirit leads to problems in their already toxic household. I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to. I remember I had a teacher in, I think it was high school, that tried to show us this movie. It did not work out. If you did not know, I went to a very strict, very religious private school, and for him to show that movie, it was just kind of like, really? Like, I loved him. It was great. I don't know why I'm even telling that story. This is not my therapy session, but I didn't appreciate it then, and I definitely appreciate it now. I really, really was just very entranced by the whole movie. I found myself being so focused on the story itself, which is, you know, kind of hard when it comes to older movies. I think Vivien Leigh is an amazing actress. I've always thought that, especially like in Gone with the Wind, but specifically for this movie, she's just, you can really tell the difference between when she's just like, you know, being her normal self and absolutely going crazy. The ending also really reminded me of Sunset Boulevard. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille, or whatever she says. It really reminded me of that. It also really reminded me kind of like Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, where like the character is slowly, progressively becoming crazier and crazier, and by the end, they're just like, yeah, this person gotta go, and they like come and take them, which, you know. But I really enjoyed it. The only thing that I didn't like is that it was a little bit triggering because Stanley, which is the character that Marlon Brando plays, is very abusive and very, like, emotionally not intelligent. So he smashes things and he throws things and he hits people. I'm just like, dude, come on, just calm down. Like, there's no need for that, okay? Just sit down. Sit your bahookie in the seat. So I give this movie 4 stars, and I definitely do recommend it. And the last movie that I watched in October was Risky Business, directed by Paul Brickman and starring Tom Cruise. When Joel Goodson, a high school senior, is left home alone when his parents leave on vacation, he finds himself in a sticky situation when he requests the service of a sex worker and the plan goes awry. Sometimes I sit and wonder why certain movies become such classics. Because in this case, I don't understand. The movie has a feel of Ferris Bueller / Blue Velvet, I would say. Not that it's a thriller in any kind of way, but it's kind of like that teen rebel comedy where, like, you know, all sorts of things go awry and they have to kind of like figure out how to put everything back together before their parents come home. But then also it has, like, you know, very adult underlining issues. And so I just don't know why it's... I can see why it became such a classic, especially with, like, the whole dance scene. I've done it like a million times before when I'm home alone too because of that movie. But I don't think that... I feel like it's overrated. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just a little bit overrated for me. I gave it 3 stars just because it was made very well. It has Tom Cruise in it, who's an amazing actor. But I just don't think it should have been as overhyped as it was. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. That's okay. May not be your opinion, but it's my opinion. Now let's move on to the TV shows. The television. The television. The first show that I watched in October is Only Murders in the Building, starring Selena Gomez, Martin Short, and Steve Martin. And this season of Only Murders in the Building, Mabel, Oliver, and Charles find themselves wrapped in another murder that has taken place in their building. The new season is filled with new characters and new situations and is sure to throw you for a whirlwind. I absolutely love this show. I watched season 1, I think it was a year ago, and absolutely love how lighthearted and fun it is, and funny, especially, you know, Steve Martin and Martin Short are 2 classic comedians. I love them so much. And then obviously Selena Gomez is just a mastermind. 'Cause I'm a mastermind. She is so cute and so amazing, and all 3 of them together just bounce off of each other really well, and I think that's what adds so much charm and charisma to this show. I give it 4 stars, and honestly, I didn't even see the end coming. So that's always good in murder mysteries. Okay, the next show that I watched in October, I can't even say it, it's so bad, is She-Hulk. Yeah. She-Hulk, starring Tatiana Maslany, is a new Marvel superhero show that follows Jennifer Walters, cousin to Bruce Banner, who balances her life as a 30-something attorney, single woman, and 6'7" Hulk. I almost choked on my own saliva. That's how, heated I am about this discussion. I just want to let you know that I am making a video about this show because of how much I need to vent about it. It is not a good show. It's not, and that's all I'm going to say about it. You're going to have to watch my next video to find out exactly why I think it's not a good show. I give this show literally half a star because I know that it takes a lot of work, even for the worst of movies and worst of shows. It still takes a lot of work, and so there was still a lot of people who, you know, got paid to do certain things. They didn't do it as well as they could have, in my opinion, but that's for another video, okay? Half a star. Half a star. The next show that I watched in October is Derry Girls Season 3. Season 3 of Derry Girls and the finale follows 5 secondary students and the universal challenges that surround them during the Northern Ireland conflict in the 1990s for one last time. This show is so funny and so incredibly smart. They also are characters that are known to talk very fast, which I like, and it's also another show that I need to watch with the subtitles on because they have the Northern Ireland accent, which I find so stunning and amazing. But when they talk really fast, it's kind of hard to understand them in that accent, which is fine. That is my problem. Okay, not theirs. It's my problem. And I give it 4 stars. And then also, I am finishing The Handmaid's Tale still. I watched the rest of what I had left with The Handmaid's Tale in October, but there are a couple more episodes that are going to be airing this month. So in next month's wrap up, you'll probably hear a lot about that. But I absolutely love the show, and I think everybody should watch it. It's very triggering in most cases, and so if you are triggered by abuse or SA, it's very triggering, just letting you know. And then of course, I am rewatching Gilmore Girls and the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but you already knew that. And then I also just started Killing Eve, which is amazing so far, and you'll probably hear about that next month as well. And last but not least, let's talk about some books. The first book that I read in October is Fahrenheit 451, written by Ray Bradbury. This book is basically a dystopian that takes place in a futuristic American society where books have been banned and firemen are now in charge of and required to burn books that are hidden or that are left in the world. This book is very important, especially in our history, because it shows how information and education is so important when it comes to being a human being. If you don't have education and you don't have places where you can get resources or share opinions or gather information, it is very easy to be led astray and led down, you know, repeats of history that we don't want to repeat. And so I really respected this book and how you're literally reading a book about how books are so important, and it's kind of like that first-hand experience, I guess. I think that the book was written a little oddly. I feel like a lot of the words were written out of place, and so sometimes it was kind of hard to read. I don't know if that was just because it's an older copyright. It was written in the 50s, I believe, and so, you know, we write a lot differently than we used to even in the 50s, and so I don't know if it was because of that or it was just because of the author's style, but I did get the gist of what the book was speaking about, and I think that's the most important part. So I definitely give this book 3 stars, and it is a very important book, so definitely go read it. And lastly, I am slowly but surely reading The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This is obviously a very, very famous book in the book community, and I've heard so many good things about it. I know there's a huge plot twist to it, so I'm slowly reading it just because I've been very busy lately, but I love the way that it's written. I think that it's so, when I read it, I feel like I'm watching a movie, and I know they're making it into a movie, which I'm super excited about, and which is one of the reasons why I want to finish reading it before the movie comes out, but I think it's just so well written, and I can't wait to finish it and find what the big plot twist is. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. I hope this video wasn't as long as I anticipated, but I hope you guys did enjoy it. Let me know what you guys are watching or reading down below in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you guys are, you know, consuming these days, other than food, but food also, because I'm always down for a good lunch or dinner or breakfast or snack, or just food in general. But I'd love to know, if you did like this video, make sure you give it a huge thumbs up so I know to make more additional content like this. Don't forget to click the subscription button down below and click the notification bell. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely insane to me, and I'm thinking of maybe doing a live stream or a Q&A when we do hit 1,000 subscribers, so make sure you hit that button if you want to see more videos like that. I leave all of my social media links in the description box below so that we can catch up and become the best of friends. I absolutely love talking to you guys. It's one of my greatest luxuries of life, is getting to connect with you guys. So if you just want to say hi, or you just want to, you know, talk a little bit, I'm available to speak whenever the time may be. Yeah. But thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye!